You didn't just wake up broken. The way you see love, the way you view yourself, the way you respond, it was shaped by your environment. What you saw, what you heard, what no one ever explained. And if you've ever felt like, why do I react like this? Or why do I always attract the same types of people? This video is for you. Hi, I'm Promise Israel, and welcome back to my podcast where we talk about everything. But today, I would like to talk about how your environment shaped your mindset and why unlearning is one of the most powerful things you'll ever do. Let's get started. I remember a time in my life where I was just like super lost, super negative. My heart posture was bad, my attitude was bad, how I looked at life was just bad. I was angry. And some of us was raised in survival mode. We were taught to be strong. We were encouraged and told to get over things quickly, but not how to process pain. Some of us grew up in homes and families where silence was just normal, where secrets lived in every room. And over time, that environment became your foundation to life. It happened to me. It has happened to everyone. It's very important to keep in mind everything that you're exposed to from the time of birth is going to be very instrumental in how you develop and grow into the adult you're supposed to be or grow into adulthood. I think I learned how to read the room before I learned how to read a book because my environment was so dysfunctional. And this is no shot to my family. This is no shot to just the environment that I come from, my hometown, or anything like that. This is just me just telling the absolute truth. Families tend to normalize dysfunction because generationally, this is just continuing to happen. Every generation is experiencing the same thing. So it's human nature to just normalize it. This is the norm. Fussing, fighting, addiction, yelling, people not just everything that you just a lot. Some people are so traumatized that they're wearing it as a personality. And now we have trauma bonding. People are becoming friends and people are getting into relationships because they share the same pain. Not because they've been healed, but because they're still in a place of pain, but they're just maybe an adult. I had to wake up one day and realize I'm grown, but I'm still reacting like a kid in some of these areas. And I really wanted to get to the root of that. And as I started to grow and honestly, just when I got into a relationship with Jesus Christ, when I got into a relationship with God, things started to make sense. My eyes were open to things that have happened in my past, and I didn't even realize how detrimental seeing that was or how detrimental hearing certain things, how it was affecting me. I think around the time I was 24, 25 years old, so a few years ago, I think my frontal lobes finally woke up and I was looking around and I realized I was just full of anger. I was really very angry and I was masking it very well. And I think that was something also that I developed as I was growing up as a child, just to not really come off like things are bothering me. And it was a defense mechanism and I was in survival mode. And this is just something that happens when you come from a certain type of environment. And just for me, I spent majority of my time in the hood. What does that mean? That's not necessarily a physical place, but it's just like a community of people who all think and act in a very poor way. Typically, environments like this, people don't care about where they live. They throw trash around. They do strange things in front of kids, a lot of cursing, a lot of fighting. You typically see people toting guns and people who are just flat out prostitutes, people who are on drugs. It's just a whole lot of stuff that happens in environments like this. And a lot of times our family members fall victim to some of the stuff that's happening in the streets. And that's just my experience with how I realized I wasn't really open to a different way of living. And I realized this around the age of 24 and 25. And I wanted to get to the root of this issue. On top of being angry, I was struggling with my identity, my sexuality, relationships, and depression. And so I had to ask myself, I would always ask myself, what's wrong with me? Geez, nothing is working out. People think I'm okay, but I'm really not. Behind closed doors, I'm really struggling. What's wrong with me? But the real question was, what shaped me? Whenever you are trying to solve a problem, always remember going back to the root is really the best advice I can give you. Root work. You got to do root work. So I found myself in my early 20s and mid 20s doing a lot of root work, having to think and act a different way, having to do something that was totally out of my normalcy. And it starts with little things. Doing root work starts with little things. And I could go into that as we continue the video. I know for a fact I lacked emotional safety. I held a lot of things in as a young girl because it seems like all the adults around me were really busy. And parents, I just want to let y'all know, if you're really busy, your kids probably feel neglected. It's not that you're neglecting them, it's just that you're really busy. And children really do need that time with their parents and with their loved ones. They don't want to feel, they don't know that they feel it at the time, but when you constantly feel like you're being just pushed to the side and just a whole lot of busyness around you, you don't feel like you have an emotional safe space. I did not feel like I had an emotional safe space. So I grew into an adult who I really didn't know how to confide in people. I didn't know how to really be honest about stuff. And when I did, and when I was opening up to people in my early 20s and late teens, I was telling too much. I didn't know how to do it. So here I am, sometimes just telling all of my business, and it me feeling stupid at the end because this is not a person I even talk to anymore, and I maybe shared something with them that was very personal to me. And when your kids grow up and they don't know how to decipher what I should say and what I shouldn't say, they just start talking. So I had to learn how to talk, right? And then when I started to talk, I was a motor mouth. And then I had to unlearn how to talk to learn how to talk in a more appropriate way where I'm not just spilling everything. Because everything you do is not for everyone. I realized I wasn't necessarily broken as a person. I had dealt with some trauma, and we've all dealt with trauma, but I was kind of conditioned to be like this, just just based off of how I grew up. I wasn't crazy, and you're not crazy. You're just reacting. You're just reacting to life because you don't even understand who you are. I had to face the truth, and I had to look around, and a lot of us, you can see the condition of your family. You can see that a lot of this stuff is also generational. It is continuing to happen. And I fear repeating the cycle. Why? Because I just do. It's a lot of stuff I really disliked, not necessarily about my family, but just the disadvantages that my family was in, and just continuing to see people make the same mistakes and fall victim to the same just systematic issues, if that's the correct way to say it. And I just really wanted to do something different. And I knew I had to surround myself in a better environment. What does that mean? Better people that you aspire to be like. And I'm not saying idolize anyone. I'm saying as you grow up and as you grow in life, you need to get in learning mode. I've always been in learning mode, but I really had to amp it up because you're grown. You are running out of time. I know you think, oh, you just 21, 22, 23, or whatever, however old you are, but you're really running out of time. Every day you wake up, you're closer to death. And I started thinking like that. I need to get on this. I need to figure out who is promised. So I got in learning mode and I started people watching, because God is really placing everything you need right in front of you. But a lot of times we're walking in complete blindness. Why? Because we're far away from God. It was distance between me and God. So the things that he was putting in front of me, I was letting the enemy use me. I was kind of messing up all of my relationships and stuff like that, just with maybe my outlook on life or maybe my immoral way of thinking, just messing up really instrumental or almost messing up really instrumental relationships. And these are people that God is putting in front of me because God will give you everything you need. Right now, wherever you are in life, the missing piece to the puzzle is already right there in front of you. You just can't see it. So I started people watching. I started watching other types of women, not in a sexual way, but in a way where I wanted to develop and be a better woman. And no shot to the women that I grew up around, but all of the women were living in survival mode. All of the women were single moms. All of the women were loud and aggressive and just busy, not soft, not just. And I wanted to feel that. Why? Because I started reading and I started just watching. Oh, a different type of woman is available. I wanted to learn how to have proper etiquette and cross my legs and speak in a really feminine way. And I had to unlearn the things that I had saw 20 plus years. That wasn't easy because trying something new, just something as simple as sitting with your chest up. That's if you used to sitting like this, just giving y'all an example, it's going to be difficult to just go from this to this and that be your main posture. So I had to people watch. I had to glean from other people. And I also had to ask questions, right? Because if you want to be a better individual, you got to position yourself and you also have to get in a vulnerable state, meaning, hey, I need help in this area. I had to learn how to treat myself. I had to learn how to love on myself. I had to learn how to set boundaries. It's so much I had to learn and unlearn. And I just want to say, unlearning is so freaking hard. It is so hard. Jeez, it's so hard. It means you have to start questioning what you were taught and letting go of what protected you. But these behaviors also poisoned you. You got to keep that in mind. But you have to unlearn because what protected you as a child is going to destroy you as an adult. And a lot of people are right there just kind of floating in an adult body, but still acting out like a child. You have to wake up. When I started unlearning stuff, I began to discover who I was underneath all of that. And to be honest, I was very fragile and emotional, right? And just like a newborn baby. When I was unlearning all the things that covered that person up. And as an adult, I had to learn again how to strengthen that person that empathizes with everything. I didn't even know I empathized with stuff because I held everything in. So you have to strengthen the person once you unlearn all of this stuff. It's just like a newborn baby. How are you going to develop this person? Because that inner person matters more than anything. Okay? And then one day it just kind of started clicking. I stopped settling for things that I didn't want. And what does that mean? Like for example, I was unhappy at a job and it was really tormenting me. And so instead of me thinking in a survival mode way, I'm like, if I don't quit this job now, I'm never going to be able to walk away from stuff that's making me unhappy. A lot of y'all are in jobs and in relationships and you're truly unhappy. And if you could just find the strength to stop settling for just being unhappy and making it by and just getting by. Now, in order for you to walk away from your job, I really had to have some faith. I had to have a relationship with God because I walked away from something that was my livelihood. And that's not an easy thing to do. So I stopped settling for things like that. I stopped self-sabotaging, right? A lot of times we're self-sabotaging just everything because we're overthinking because we don't know how to just relax. Still right now I'm learning how to just relax. I can't control everything. I had developed this complex on I need to make sure I'm controlling this because I hated when someone else was in control of my life. Now I'm in control of my life and I don't want to let up for anything, not even to be obedient with God. That's not a good place to be in as an adult because God needs to be your lead. He needs to be able to lead you. So you got to be able to submit. So for so long, I was doing it on my own and I wasn't being obedient to God. He'll tell me to do something and I still do it my way because I'm trusting my way. Why? Because I'm still protecting, I guess, that little girl where I said I ain't never go get in a position where I got to ask for no help, where I got to do nothing because of how I grew up and the things I saw. And one of the best things I could have ever unlearned was identifying with pain. I used to just always, depression plagued my identity. And I stopped with that. I'm depressed. Come on, man. Come on, let it go. Happiness is available. And I had to ask myself, I promise, what are you willing to do? What lengths are you willing to go to so that you can experience happiness? Because this depression don't look good on you. And I'm telling you, it don't look good on you. Little by little, I started pruning. God started pruning things away and I started feeling brand new. It's a transformation that you have to go through in order to reflect peace and happiness and in order to reflect a person that has a light on them. And I'm going to tell you in every single one of my videos, having a relationship with God, that got to be your foundation. So you got to unlearn all of that stuff because that pain, that doubt, that toxic environment, that dysfunctional way of thinking, that immoral way of living, that's right now, that's your foundation. You got to replace that foundation and put God right there. Let him be the cornerstone. Let him be the rock. Let him be the foundation, right? And Once you start doing that, you're going to slowly but surely just start developing and looking like a new person, thinking like a new person, acting like a new person. You don't have to keep living in default. You have permission right now to pause in your life. I don't care what your circumstances are, because they really don't matter. Stop thinking that your circumstances is hindering you from just getting out of that funk or just being a better person. It's not your circumstances. So take a pause and ask yourself, is this really who I am? Is this who I've become? Angry, lazy, sad, depressed, dysfunctional, toxic, unhealed person? That's not who you want to be. And that's not who you have to be. And I just feel like this is being put on my heart to say as we close out. Listen, your future depends on your now. Your now does not have to depend on your past, though. It's a lot of things that you went through, and it's a lot of things that you haven't even truly faced because you're sweeping this stuff under the rug. Get in a relationship with Jesus Christ. Let him help you out. Let him help you through this stuff because your future depends on it. When I started realizing it's not just about me. For a long time, I was thinking in a selfish way, which is why I wasn't able to grow in any areas. I was thinking in me, me, me. This is what makes me feel good. So I'm going to do this. I don't care about nobody. Me, me, me. And then my frontal lobes kind of woke up and it's like, wait a minute. What if you have kids? Wait a minute. What about having a relationship, having a husband? Wait a minute. What about when you become an elderly woman? How is this stuff that you're dealing with right now going to affect your future? So y'all need to think in a future way. Once you start thinking future all the way down to as upset and as crazy and sick in the head as I was towards my parents, I started thinking about, whoa, honor your mother and father. It started clicking. Come on, promise. You can't be around here feeling like that, talking like that, acting like that towards your parents. What if your kids do that to you? You ain't thinking about it when you thinking in a selfish way. You just thinking about, hey, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I'm going to be this way. Think in a more futuristic way. Think in a more futuristic way because it's very important to make an impact while you're on earth. And you cannot make an impact if you're carrying around so much trauma. Can't do it. So, hey, y'all drop a comment. Let me know how you feel about the video. I hope that I'm helping people. I hope that I'm helping push the needle forward, even if it's just one person. I hope that I'm helping push the needle forward so that the world can look better. I just want to be the vessel. So y'all leave a comment. Thank y'all for watching and I love y'all. Took me a minute for me to get to know you, but I'm here and now I'm ready.